Okay, gotta say hi first, Kiki. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of Reaper Pro Tips with Kiki, and more Kiki. Also myself, hi, your host, Ann, and disembodied hands, Quindy. And there might be a Justin and John, but they're not getting eaten by Kiki, so they're not important. Off. This is becoming her favorite thing to do, by the way. Off. Hey. Up. Hold on. Zero tolerance biting. Off. Get out. Come on. Move it. Exiled. No bites. Yeah. Exiled dog. Exiled dog is exiled. I'll open the gate in a little bit. But she can see me, so you be a good girl. Yeah. Oh, dear me. I've been ravaged by a dingo, a wild dingo. Yeah, is that what you get too, Miss Imp? Except shorter. Happy Taco Tuesday? Yeah, happy Dingo Tuesday. I don't get tacos. She's huge, Otter Mama. She's immense. We're gonna go in for a weigh-in today and see how heavy she is. She's a monster, though. Today is Dingo Day. Like, she has been so handful. Oh, do you want to bring your toy? 1 second. I will open up the gate. Okay, you can bring me your toy. That's acceptable behavior. Bring it. No, Papa. Pick it up. Go pick it up. Get your toy. No? Okay. But you can't jump on me. You can't jump on me. We're past that part of the show. Yeah, we're past that part. Yep. And you can't eat things over there. So just don't eat anything. All right? That's my request. No eating. Settle. Mama's got to work. Time for Mama to work. You're being stalked by... Yeah. Kiki is like... Today is just like... When David took her for a walk this morning, there were a lot of dogs, and she couldn't play with any of them because he had to get to work today, so he couldn't let her just play. And oh my God. She pulls so bad. Oh, now I've got a toy. Now somebody brought me a toy. Good girl. She's getting it. Like, and I try to help her. Like, if I have to like take a couple breaks during stream, I have to take a couple breaks during stream. But I'm trying to encourage her to do this choice instead of jumping up to bring me the toy. Then I'll play with her for a minute. Right? So, oh, you got it. Yeah, you want to play again? Okay. She likes to win. They all like to win, right? Kiki eats arugula. Kiki will beg me for my arugula when I start making my salad for lunch. Oh, you got it. Good girl. Okay, one more time. Oh, pick it up. This also lets me trade pick it up. Good girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tony. Oh, you got it. Wow, you're so strong. Strong dog. Oh, dog strongness. No, nomming up on my hand. Nope. Okay, go settle, Keeks. Good girl. Nope, go settle. Nope. Mama's got to work. Good girl. Dogs are weird, and Kiki is super weird. Bones 5 shipping extra. Oh, wow. Quantities are super limited. Nope. No bites. I can't always play with you. Come on. And if you keep being annoying, I am going to... Where'd it go? I am going to show you out, Doglet. Oh. Blue Healer looks at lettuce like it's trash. That Blue Healer would like... I know several past friends of mine who would agree with the Blue Healer. Good girl, Kiki. Good girl. Go settle. Oh my. I probably should open her back door more, but I'm going to just try to focus here. Oh my God. But yeah, so Kiki has been a handful today, really regression, because she got so frustrated on her walk because she couldn't play with any of the dogs she wanted to play with, that when she got in, when David brought her in, she was just jumping and biting. Keeps you from spending. Yeah, it works. It works. Cannons are not my thing, so I'm going to resist that one. I've spent enough money. Oh, frankly, my friends, I've spent enough money this past week. So I was very good for like 2 months and like saved up a chunk of money to have fun with. And then there was an explosion. I might have spent $100 over what I was supposed to. Oops. Now I have to be a good girl. But I bought myself a bag for a knit bag, a big bag to hold my knitting stuff, which I desperately needed. So it was a need thing. It was just a cool need thing because now I put all my knitting stuff in the bag. So always more than the cannons. Well, thanks, Quindy. Now I have to go look, right? Uh-oh. Somebody's being bad. 1 second. No bad dog. No bad dog. Come on, bad dog. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, come on. Go out. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I cannot let you chew on shoes. You are just a beast today. Why are you such a beast? Why? Why are you a beast? Why are you a beast? Really sick. Really sick. There. I'm going to give you that. That's all I can give you. Now you got to stay and be a good girl. Yeah, you are being really disruptive. Go ahead. It's not even close to that, man. You can get it. No, you got it. Sorry, Pa. You're being too much. Too much. I got to work. You guys know normally she's good. Normally she lets me work, but today, today we are pushing all the boundaries, the dog. I looked back and she had grabbed one of my running shoes and was trying to chew the shoelaces, so I had to actually like get up and stop the stream. Oh my God. Oh my God, you cursed yourself, Miss Dim. Oh, so you went to a behaviorist with him. What was their feedback? I'm really curious now. Please share. Please share. As someone who is dealing with a puppy who is having days where she regresses and gets really bitey, I'm very interested. Please. Please help us, Miss Imp. 0 tolerance for teeth. Yep. That's what we're doing too. Oh yeah, Twisted Oma, because these puppies, they have sharp teeth. They're gonna totally like draw blood. Like Kiki still, like even recently, I have a tiny Kiki scar because she actually scraped her tooth scraped across my arm. So what do? You probably don't have him loose a lot yet, do you? So you can just like go away from the crate or the pen, right, Miss Dim? I think Kiki's just trying to push the boundaries because she'd gotten much better. Like yesterday, she was actually much better. Oh, I see. So yeah, you have other dog dynamics, right? Yeah. All right. So yeah, we just have to make sure it's 0 tolerance. Because I was being really, really good, and then she got wet this weekend, and I had to towel her off. Keep him out of the playpen, watch on the leash. Ah. Yeah, that does not work with Kiki Crows. It works with some dogs. All my other dogs, none of my other dogs were this bitey. None of my other dogs were this bitey. But the problem is when Kiki goes to bitey, she's like over the top. Like she's not using that. So are you settling down so you can just watch me? Good girl. Good girl. I'm not going to be very exciting though, Keeks. Yeah, so some dogs, it depends on something called arousal, which is essentially how fast the dog gets excited and to what extent they get excited. So dogs that are like, that have a high arousal will essentially go 0 to 60 and their brain cells fly right out the window. And when Kiki's that way, that's when she's biting. and when she's highly aroused. And so she has no brain cells to process the whole treat, not treat thing. Yeah, so with her, it's been like, oh yeah, yep, I don't get, well, that's why Kiki like tries to like do the mouthing thing when she jumps up on me on here, right? Is that I'm closer to her level because this is a kneeling chair. She never does it. If I sit in a regular chair, she would never jump up on me. So it's like very selective behavior, which makes me think we just have to target the bad stuff. But this morning I had to tell David to just leave because she was just jumping up on him, and then when I, tried to mitigate, she was jumping up on me, and it was just like a never-ending cycle. And when she jumps up, she wants to try to use teeth. So, yeah, Tristodoma, exactly. And with cats, it's a lot harder, right? Because they're a lot more instinctual. They haven't been as domesticated for as long. I didn't have much luck teaching my cats to not claw when they were in that mode. So you just have to leave, right? That's the answer, is if your cat wants to engage and play with claws and teeth, you just stand up and leave. So with cats, they aren't necessarily as sociable or as human dependent. So it, it's not really anything except to remove yourself. But yeah, with dogs, at least with Kiki, she wants to be with me. So if I remove myself, if I let you in here, are you going to be a good girl? She really wants to engage with me right now, but I just can't do it. All right, so I got to think. I have to think. So probably gold lining here. And I said before, probably a lighter gray fur. I wanted to look up ermine, but my phone is on the charger, so I cannot Google ermine right now. But I will take if the ermine is a lighter fur, I will take it under advisement. I want to do a lighter fur on him. Now I've got to think about, he's got leather. I really wanted to do some nice reddish leather on this model because I love it with a green. So I think I will actually start on the reddish leather today just to start blocking it in. And I think I'm going to use like a blue-black with this as well as another color, a really dark one. I wanted my green to be darker, but since it's not coming out as dark, I'm just going to kind of switch gears and go with a blue-black for some of the alternating stuff. So let's block in red leather, and my choice for this is always ruddy leather. You could also work with the oxide. You could also work with the brown oxide specifically. Let me see if I can find my ruddy leather. Hello, ruddy leather, where are you? Look, I won't be able to find it. I'll have to use something totally different because I probably put it in the other room. Well, let's talk about things we could use instead of our ruddy leather, since I seem to be... Oh, maybe I found it. Yay, I found it. But let's talk about things we could use instead anyway. Oh, no problem, Carnico. You missed a totally dingo Kiki. And discussion of dog behaviorist advisements. All right, so the difference between ruddy leather and any of these other reddish colors. So let's look at our other options here. If you want to do a reddish leather, and actually you could use any of these to highlight the ruddy leather, except mahogany, it's a little bit dark, but you could use like auburn shadow or rusted anchor. We may use rusted anchor to highlight it. So these are some, and rusted anchor is a fast palette from Surf and Turf, as I recall. But you can see the difference in the colors, right, just on the screen. Ruddy leather looks a lot more brown. It's darker than these guys. Mahogany is very red. It's because it's actually built in a red base, not with brown or black. So essentially mahogany has a very high front load of red. If you wanted mahogany to work this way, you'd probably need to add some black and brown to it to get it closer to the ruddy leather. But you could use it. Just remember that it is very red. So if you wanted the leather that's like a cherry finish, the really red leather, then you could start very, very much so with mahogany brown, and then I would probably shade it with black and brown. I don't think I want this as vibrant as that, as bright as that. Oh, she's right up against the gate. She's like lying down against the gate, looking at me. Kiki. So then we've got these other two, and you can easily see if you added black to auburn shadow, you would probably end up with something very close to ruddy leather. And rusted anchor, again, either you add black, or if you even added some black and brown, you could get it there. But let's actually try this as a triad then. Because when you start looking at colors and you're like, oh, if I wanted this color would be an okay highlight for this, But if I wanted this to actually, like if I didn't have this, I wanted to mix it, I probably would add a dark brown. Then you're like, what you're essentially saying is, oh, but this could be a triad then. Because if this is a good highlight for this, then I would add this to it to make this into this, then this is a good triad. So mahogany is not, no, garnet is very cold. If you want to make garnet red, mix deep red and blood red. 9002 and 9003. It will get you very, very close. Garnet was originally conceived as just kind of a half step between those colors because they were quite different and people didn't necessarily want to thin down the blood red to the point where they could get a smooth blend. So, but no, mahogany has brown in it. It definitely does have brown in it. It's just a very red brown. That's why this was, before we put out Auburn Shadow, mahogany was my go-to for Auburn. And it still sometimes is. For Sophie, it is, because I want that little extra artificial, like, redness. I keep all my red browns together, for the most part. Except for Ruddy Leather, which is in the very useful, always, you know, keep it close kind of box. Yeah. You could, yeah, or you could use, yeah, there's all sorts of colors that you can use. I mean, Asmodeus makes a great base for red dragons, too. The other one is actually Dragon Red, if you want a darker base is good. But if you're looking for like kind of a mid-dark base, yeah, then mixing those two gives you something like that. All right, so let's actually try this. I haven't used Rusted Anchor as a highlight for Ruddy Leather before. Usually with Ruddy Leather, I'll advise mixing in like an orange brown, but this is a little more reddish, so we'll try Rusted Anchor and we'll see how it goes. So today Kiki is a dingo, but she also gets a car ride today. We're going to the vet to give her a weight. Oh, I think she finally gave up. She's like, Mama, it's going to be boring, and I'm just going to go over here. I might need to order more Ruddy Leather. So Ruddy Leather is a great reddish leather color. It is actually like it's formulated with some oxides and black. In very equal amounts. It's very balanced because the oxides have high coverage. It is a high coverage color, which is nice when you're trying to base coat leather. So Ruddy Leather is one of those colors that if I had a limited number of browns that I would keep around, it's one of them. It's harder to mix. Although you could probably get close if you did equal amounts of black, red oxide, and brown oxide. But it maybe not because the pigment loads are all very different with that. So with darker leather, if I wanted this to be super dark, then I would start with the black and brown, but I actually want it to be pretty reddish, and so I'm starting with the Ruddy Leather. Remember, the fur is going to be light, and his skin, he doesn't have much skin, but it will be light. We probably will go with a white feather, basically white with maybe some other color added to it. Because we do need some light colors on here. Remember to always vary your lights and your darks on the model. That's one of the easiest ways to make sure your colors will go together. And this belt pouch and this belt are right up against each other, but I don't really care. I'm going to be able to use lining and highlights to differentiate themselves. When I'm working with main colors on a model, I will often try to alternate, and sometimes I will with secondary colors like this as well. But here, I'm like, it's just such a small connection, and I actually want a lot of this red leather on here, so because it offsets the green. Whenever you're working with a model that's done in greens or teals, anything that's got that green, it will also work really well with blues. But the greens and blues are really great colors to use this reddish leather recipe with. Hello, HMO Road Dog. Thank you for the resub. 37 months. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this, and like I said, if you don't have Rusted Anchor, then just I grab usually some orange brown and just mix it in. It's 9201. I mix it into the Ruddy Leather. And let's see here. So we've got a belt around this to hold it on. We're just not seeing the belt, but that's a leather strap for sure. So and I might actually, I haven't decided, but I think what I might do here, there's another strap. I'm going to hit the straps, but then I'm like, I'm looking at his boots and I'm like, I had thought I might use a slightly different leather on them, but I don't really want to go light with them. And I'm already going to be going with like a blue black for some of these other colors. So I'm like, I think I am anyway. Maybe I'm going to rethink that. But, I think what I'll do, and this is a trick you can do, if you're like, well, I want the boots to be darker, but I don't want to use a whole nother leather triad, then what you do is instead of starting with your midtone, you use the same 3 colors, but you start with your shadow. That will make essentially the boots a darker version, but using the same leather colors so that they will not clash. Otherwise, if you tried to choose a leather color that was close but not the same, you would definitely hit some clashing color. Can't do that. All right. So the hilt of the sword is one of the things that I would normally use to have an accent color, right? But we really have no other, like, we can't put it here because, like, otherwise this interior shirt might be an accent color and then they would be right next to each other. I'm still deciding on the interior shirt, but I really do feel like I'm going to go really, really black blue with it, like probably blue liner, but I'm still thinking. But yeah, so I'm still like ruminating in my head. I know the fur is light, so I just am trying to work things on that. And I had decided that the gemstones are going to be like black, like onyx. Nut brown is not. It is more purple and more pale and not as rich. This is a really saturated, really vibrant leather color. Nut brown is not close. I actually feel like nut brown is actually less useful. It's more neutral, but that purple makes it a little bit dicey to use with some color combos. Like, I wouldn't ever use it with reds, and I wouldn't ever use it with purples. But that's me. Like, again, you may find a difference. And the other thing is that nut brown is going to change. Like, if you shaded it with black and brown, it would go much closer to neutral and you wouldn't notice as much clashing potential. Alrighty, what do I want to do? Oh, I see a mold line. I want to clean off that mold line. It's right on the boot. The bottom, underneath the everything, which is why I didn't see it before. There. Yeah, I mean, you can use it for either. It's just because the grayer a color gets, the less useful it is with more vibrant colors. And when it's got kind of an off shade to it, like the purple, it can be just a little bit, it can be just a little tricky because it's like, the purple, when it slides toward purple, it makes it less likely to go with purples. And red is close to purple, and I don't think I would use it with blue either. You could use it with greens, but I would say it's less good with blues than nut brown is less good with blues than ruddy leather. You probably would. Like, I mean, nut is, well, I mean, I've got it here. Hold on. They're actually quite different. See. Actually, nut is darker as well. So, all right, nut you could use as a neutral. I always forget how dark it is. I'm always thinking of ashen brown or something. But you can see how much less red it is. And the reason that ruddy leather works so well with blues and greens is that red, it's so red And red works, it's complementary to green, and it's in a triad with blue. So I would say they're very different colors, and if you had both, they wouldn't be redundant. It would just let you do a very red leather if you want to. And I might want to go up. I'm rethinking my rusted anchor. I'm thinking it might be too bright because I went with such a muted green, because we have to think about that, right? But it's looking very bright on the model. So I'm going to get my black and brown mixed up. I'm going to shade it a little bit. Oh, I need to get that strap too. Kiki has decided I'm very boring, and she's right. She's right. So nut brown, it's not like there's anything wrong about using nut brown. It's just like, for me, it's a more problematic color. I reach for it less as a utilitarian color. I mostly created nut brown. Oh, geez, this needs shaking. Geez, black and brown, separate out, why don't you? Oh, thanks, I think I will. I made nut brown because I used to use a ink color for shading that was that color. That I really enjoyed, and we didn't really have a paint at all like it. So when I'm making colors, when I was making colors, one of the things I'm looking for is color holes, right? Holes in the current paint line. I actually did a PDF on this a long time ago about creating one of the paint lines. I think maybe it was creating the Bones paint line. Like, I actually have a PDF on my Patreon talking about paint line design. Gosh, it was a long time ago. I think it was for a $5 tier. When I was still at Reaper, so it would have been like 2019. But I talk a little bit about there where I'm looking for color holes. And we didn't have at that time, we didn't have a good like dark purple brown, like Volcano Brown and its triad had gotten canceled or were about to be. And I was like, well, I can kind of protect myself from cancellation if I put out this nut brown, plus it is different. It's not as light as Volcano. It's more like, nut brown is more like the old Cinder Brown, Shadow for Volcano Brown. Still not quite the same, not as dark, I think, but close. All right, so the black and brown versus the ruddy brown. You can see there is a shade between them. And the black and brown is one of the really, what I consider a true neutral brown. It is reddish, but it's so dark you don't really see it. And so it is much more neutral. It plays well with pretty much everything. I can't think of a single color that it would really clash with unless it was a really grayed out color, because it is fairly vibrant with its oxide pigment load. But you'd have to try really hard to clash with black and brown. That's what I think about when I think about like neutral browns and whether the brown is a neutral. Is I'm imagining in my head, and I'm like, is there a color this would clash with if I put both on the model? And if the answer to that with a brown is no, and there isn't really anything that it would clash with, then it's a neutral. With all colored browns, and I did recently also a PDF on this. Oh, Rusted Anchor was a limited, not from Fast Palette? Oh, you're right, Quindy, you're right. Hey, Karu, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, I think. All right, so we're going to use the same colors, but we're going to start with the black and brown on the boots instead of starting with the ruddy leather. Though I am going to finish up my ruddy leather here. I'm very distracted today. I was super focused yesterday, and so I think my brain is saying, nope, we're just going to kind of like be do-do-do-do today. My brain is deciding to trundle about, doing whatever it feels like today. I got sucked down the bunny hole. I'm starting to realize how much work I'm going to have to get done in relatively short order to get my book ready for publication. Now that I was waiting all this time for my cover art, but now that I've have given her I think we want to go with this design. Now it's like all this stuff I have to do because I need to get ISBN numbers and I need to upload my book to the platforms that are going to print my paper version and get an exact page count. And so I need to figure out how to do that. And, you know, there's all this stuff. It's like, I think this weekend is just going to be all book all the time. And I had to read up on ISBN numbers this morning to find out if I needed a separate one for Amazon and for Ingram's. Oh no, Karu, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through that. All the hearts, all the finger hearts. I hope you bounce back and land in a good place. Let's see, where else is leather, guys? I might want to make the band around the hat leather, actually. Because he's like a huntsman, I decided. I didn't want to make him like a fancy pants town sheriff. I wanted to make him more like the major domo of the hunting lodge, the noble's hunting lodge. There, and I'll do some lining around that too, and I'll darken that down a bit. But I'm trying to, as you can see, I'm trying to repeat the color. Whenever you're using a color that's at all like punchy, repeat it around the model as much as you can. With the wood, I'm also going to go with a darker color. So let's get our black and brown here. Yeah, just keep working through it, Karu. I feel it. Man, I always feel, I'm thinking always that I'm hearing rain, but I'm not anymore. It's just so many days of hearing rain. We actually have a sunny day today. And I think there's a slight chance of rain tomorrow, but that it's supposed to be all gone now. I think we should go back to our normal, quote-unquote normal, mid-California climate. How is it in Scotland today, Korniko? You had sunny yesterday, but cold, I remember. Do you need 3 lighthouses? Need is a very strong word. Must I have three lighthouses? Still cold and sunny. Well, good. At least you're getting your sunshine. If you can find a happy nook outside of your house, your home, where it's sunny and the wind can't reach, then you can pretend that it's actually spring. I used to do that a lot in Texas, actually. There was the library downtown in Denton I would go to write on Sundays. And they had a little bench tucked up against the side, like under this big old tree, that it was usually out of the prevailing wind. So I could like sit there in the sun under the tree and ignore the fact that the tree had no leaves. And like it felt warmer. Felt like springtime. I like to fool my brain like that sometimes. I'm ready for springtime. The cold and the rain was like a lot for me, but I guess we're only like halfway through, so I've got to kind of suck it up still. Oh, Ann, it's only mid-January. Don't be thinking it's spring yet. I'm jumping the gun. In general, the thing is, Grey Wolf, that they're judging everything from like ancient climate models, right? And things have changed. I think it's really dumb that they're still like, you know, using like, you know, 40 or 50 years ago climate models to like judge whether we're in drought. Because yeah, we had almost 2 solid weeks of rain, so that's helped, right? Okay, so we're still technically in drought according to the old climate models, but this did actually help refill some of our reservoirs a bit. Oh yay, a walk! That's awesome, Kerniko. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But yeah, so we'll see if we get more rainy weather before the end of the winter here. I know when I first moved here, it was just like the first week of April back in 2020, and they had just had like a whole week of rain too. So winter and early spring are typically our rainy season, and then around April is like usually the last like heavy rain. We might get sprinkle rain, but like sprinkle rain has even been really rare. I think it used to rain more in the summer here, and it just hasn't been. And it's honestly taken this weird atmospheric river thing to give us this much rain in winter where it used to be normal. Alrighty, so we'll just get this blocked in a nice dark color. I always start like with canes and staff handles and things like that, where it's just a long wood pole with no features. I always start dark. I can always work up a little bit of wood grain texture on top of that. It's much easier to do wood grain that way, to start dark and then to etch in some lighter texture, than it is to try to do it light and then put wood grain marks in. Yeah, Southern California, I think you're right, Smallish Sam, because it's much more deserty down there. Here in the South Bay, you can still you still get like the coastal fogs and stuff to bring in some moisture too in the summer, early summer. It's a little bit, it's weird. San Francisco area has a weird climate, and we in the South Bay have like a climate that's halfway between San Francisco and halfway between like Southern California. Yeah, just eyes in the dark because you have so many dark black cats. That's funny. Yeah, we're in the South Bay, and I feel I feel like there used to be a little bit more like light rain in the summer probably than there is lately, and that's a big droughty thing. But all right, and the other thing I'm going to do with this, I could just go with walnut, but I can also use black and brown and just remember to paint the bottom of this coat just completely dark. Because it is the underside, you can get away with black and brown isn't like a really black brown like walnut, but you can still use it to block in a big shadow underneath this coat to kind of signal to the viewer that, you know, you don't need to look here, it's not important. But yeah, I was happy with the rain because I was writing and doing writing things, and when you're doing writing and painting, having a bunch of rain is very cozy for a while until it gets old. What gets old is the muddy paws from the pawpaw. Like, I will be happy when our floors go back to not covered in mud all the time. Ms. Mucky Paws. Because our backyard is small, and so the grass is really suffering after all the traffic. So she's definitely managed to eliminate a lot of our grass. It'll have to grow super fast when it gets the chance in some warm weather. So even like the interior here on the inside, I would also block this in dark because it's in shadow. Even though it's not on the underside, it's on the interior now, I would still be blocking that in dark. I'm beginning to feel like my creative pursuits lately are like a whole bunch of standing still and then a whole bunch of running. It's like waiting for my covers for months. And now I suddenly have to get a crap ton of work done in like 2 weeks. And my knitting is like, couldn't touch it for months because of the puppy. Now I feel like I started a new project and I need to I want to make progress on 2. All right, we'll kind of just put a dark line in here. Can't see much of the interior edge of this. So a lot of this is kind of like replacement for lining. When you go there, it definitely starts to look more like lining, but in reality, we're just doing the same thing we did over here. We just have more room to do it over here. Put in those separators. He could, yeah. It's black and brown. I went with blackened because I'm going to be using it to shade the wet leather up here, and I'm going to be using these leather colors to highlight the boots down there. So I wanted a slightly different leather color, but if I had gone with a completely different color, it would have risked clashing Turgeon. So instead, a way to cleverly do that is to use the same triad, but to start one zone with the dark and the other with the mid. That way you get two leather colors, but they're actually the same colors. They just look different because you started one dark and one medium. I also just spotted another tiny little bit of mold line. Tiny mold line. 1 second. All these underside areas got me. So I'm very upset with David because he's got all these beautiful models that I, won't buy because he's painting them. And then he's looking at my sister's battle and going, oh, I really like this one. I should buy this one. Oh, I think I'm going to buy a box of these. I'm like, grrr! Seriously, pow! This man needs to sit there and paint his own crap. Oh, lordy. I thought I was safe, folks. I thought, yeah, he won't want to paint Sisters of Battle. They're boring. Relatively, color-wise, right? They're very standard color schemes. Though you could paint them however you wanted, but still. I like the traditional color scheme. Yeah, and then he even wants to paint them in the color scheme that I like, which is the red armor with the black cloth. I'm like, grrr! Grrr! I've had a serious grrr moment. Serious grrr moment. I'm going to shade underneath these, the furry bit, too. Putting a big block of shadow right under there. Essentially aligning. Okay. But yeah, it's he's got all these beautiful Games Workshop minis that, I won't buy now because I prefer to work on, stuff that's different. If he's already painting it, I don't want to go and grab it and try to paint it. It kind of kills a little bit of my motivation. But he is not that way, so... Yeah, I suppose, Richard, except we're both unlikely to play at any point, but... I don't know. Lately he is just Mr. all over the place with the minis he's working on. And he goes through phases like this. If he's really into a project, he will be real solid on that project for a while. But he's been skittering all over the place with the projects that he's been on lately. Which is his, it's totally his prerogative, right? He paints purely for his own enjoyment. So if he wants to skitter around and start 12 different projects, he can. Oh, that's funny, HM Road Dog. Yeah, I mean, if I was likely to play, then I'd probably be happy about it, but... I mostly got them just for me, and then, then I'll have a 40K army in case I do meet people who play. Let's do a little bit of lining here, too. And there are times where I'll want a heavier line with my lining and times where I want it to be more delicate, but often with 28mm, I will go heavier. Especially with a model like this with a lot of details. Having everything stand out is worth it for me. And I didn't finish my greens back here either, so I'll have to go back and do that at some point. But you're leathering today. We'll just leather. Okay, did I miss any leather bits? I thought about whether I wanted the cuffs of this coat to be leather. And I'm still a little bit out, although I may make them more of a cream color. I may do cream and gray. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I do think I'm going to make the handle wood though, so let's just do that. Alrighty. So I'm seeing that there's like kind of a faceted top to this cane, so I'm betting that it's onyx, just like this gem and that gem and that gem and all these gems. So much onyx or Ermagerd. So I'm thinking that that is a thing. Let's see here. Black, 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 black. Yeah, and then going with a really, really dark blue. And then I think, we've got this tiny little cloth thing here, and it's very annoying when we have this sort of thing because you're tempted to make it a different color, right? An accent. We don't really have an accent. So if we have an accent, it's almost cream at this point if I do the cream there and the cream there, so I will probably go cream down here. Boring as that is, it still fits with more of the rustic. Yeah, I'm not doing any, like the back, and there's a whole pouch there too, Polly. I guess I could get it. I didn't finish the green back here yet, so I've been kind of loath to paint more, but you're right, I should get it. I should get it, even though I haven't finished the green, I should just do it. It's a nice bag. It's got some nice little scrolly designs on it. I think I was really restrained. I think I got the new paints in the lighthouse. I think that's all I got for the bone stuff this time. Just because I love terrain, so it's like the lighthouse looked like it was a cool terrain piece. You could just use it for a tower in a pinch. And I'm gonna do everything, even though you could do the outside area or the scroll work in gold or silver or whatever. I'm just gonna do the whole thing in leather because it would just take much longer to try to paint around all these tiny details. So instead, just paint over them when you are ready. I had some very pretty yarns this weekend, Kuriko, to do my new like cowl slash snood project with. I thought I would do one in one yarn and the other in the other. I thought I would do two. But one of my yarns is color shifting and it's like teal, blue, and cream, and the other one is a burgundy red with purple, little bits of purple in it. It's really cool. I love yarn. Like, that's my whole motivation for knitting, I think, is just because I love the colors. I would buy all the yarn. Yeah. Yeah, the color changing one should make a really nice cowl, I think. Hopefully. It's bulky. Bulkier yarns, because my second scarf that I'm working on very slowly is a much finer yarn, so it's taking forever. And now I see why people knit stuff in bulky yarn, because you can do it. You can do it so fast. Ah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the dragon. Cute Kiru. Yeah, you should call the Reaper help. I mean, Twisted Oma, and like have the screen up in front of you, or email them and say, I'm on this screen. What do I do? You know, what button should I look for? Where is it? Because sometimes it can be a little, I also have run into that where I'm just like, well, wait a minute, how do I just like say yeah and go forward? You know, sometimes I run into that as well. And sometimes the pledge managers don't make that easy for you. Ah, oh, the Sub-Zero colors. I have my big fat wool scarf, my ugly scarf. Ugly scarf is my cold weather scarf because it's just wool. Big bulky wool, fat wool, Rowan big wool. Although now I could have made it even thicker if I would have done it in a ribbed pattern. So now I'm thinking about maybe doing another one that will end up like thicker, more closely woven because of the way it wrinkles when it's a ribbed pattern. So are you using like alpaca or something, Karniko? Like a really warm yarn? Like what yarns do you like that are the really warm ones? I think alpaca's one, am I right? If I say alpaca 3 times, does it summon Luca? Tom Baker's scarf. I love Tom Baker's scarf. I love Tom Baker. I would have one. Yes, it's the wrong day to summon Luca by saying alpaca, alpaca, alpaca. But I did buy my burgundy with purple yarn is part alpaca. It's soft. I like soft. Okay, so I'm just doing some quick lining / shading behind on the around and behind on this pouch. Getting that darker shadow back there. Wool blend. Easier to wash. Yep. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I've got so little. See, by the time I've gotten like stored up all this knitted stuff, then I'll start be like, oh, do I have to hand wash? But right now, it's like I've got so little of it. It's just a novelty to kind of hand wash it with the wool wash and pin it out. So I'm trying to learn to read patterns now. And I've learned to read crocheting patterns, okay, so wool patterns knitting patterns don't seem that bad, except they have different codes for different things. I think Luca's more likely, and he probably is the apocalypse anyway. Oh, one of the cats wants to eat alpaca. Oh no, is your cat like in the middle of this like huge box? Hey, Zachariah. That would be kind of cool. Warmest natural fur fiber. The problem with warm fibers, though, is that, you think you need them until you actually wear them. And then if you do any exertion at all, you're suddenly like sweating up a storm and you have no recourse. All right, so we've gotten that leather in. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Okay, and now we can do some shading on the leather with this black and brown, and we can do some highlighting on the leather with the ruddy leather, and you're working on a spreadsheet that feels like the apocalypse. There we go, Quindy. You pick a color for the temperature range in your area and knit 2 rows in the corresponding color each day. Interesting. Kerniko, that sounds like a fun project. Now, I'd have to have a lot more yarn. But it sounds like a cool way to use like scraps of yarn too. Like, when you've got just the tail end of a yarn ball and you don't have a lot. Yeah, oh, and you can do a blanket too, huh? Yeah, that's really kind of fun, Kerniko. Oh, and it's an excuse to buy a bunch of different yarn. I don't want that yet. I don't have a storage area yet. That's why I just bought myself the knitting container, knitting supply container, so that I could segment off some of my, because I've got a bunch of needles now, so I had to buy a larger size for the new project. Oh, my Kiki is right by the gate. She's been doing that lately. Like I cracked open the back door, screen door for her so she could have some cold air. But lately, like if I go outside for a minute, or I go for my evening walk without her or whatever, I'll come back and she's camped right next to, like, waiting for me right there. I think Kiki will be a good dog when she stops being a complete puppy dingo. I bet you could do like something like seed or do your own pattern, Twisted Oma. Maybe temperature scarf. Maybe temperature scarf would be good in ribbing. I don't know. I bet you could do your own thing though. Oh, okay, that makes sense. An IKEA bag would be perfect for that. Oh, I bet the cats just love that. I don't even know how to do a blanket yet. I don't know if I have a, like that. That would be a lot. That would be a lot of, like, do you normally do that just in a big circular needle that's really wide, or do you do 2 panels and stitch them together when you knit a blanket? See, I'm a total noob. Help me, Obi-Wan, Kerniko, and all the rest of you who are awesome. I'm just curious, because I like blankets. So we're just lining around the leather just to get it outlined, and then I'm going to use this color to shade it. And maybe we'll do some texture on the belt anyway. It's big and broad. Yeah, I could probably do a little more. I don't want to wear it too much, but I could do a bit of texture because I want him to be like a hunting lodge guy. Ah, blankets. Just do it on 1 needle. And with I assume you have to have a cord on the end so you can do as much as you needed. Yeah, I would stitch together as little as possible too if I had the ants, smallish Sam. But I assume like if you're doing like something that's like 4 feet wide, you could do it on a circular 48-inch, right? You just knit it in the flat, but you use the, yeah, cord. Okay. Yeah, I've got a lot of the circular cable needles now because you can do the flat or you can do the round. I'm excited because my new pattern, my new snood pattern, is like knitted just like it's like a spiral. So I actually just keep knitting. Like it feels like crochet. So it'll be different for me. All right, get this all lined up, literally. Oh, just a heads up to those who were on the Patreon but have not like checked their emails or whatever. I did put out my Chimera colors right up yesterday. So if you caught my stream this weekend, or you didn't, but you were interested in that paint range and kind of what it's good at, the pros and cons and stuff, I broke them down. That's patreon.com/paintingbig. Thank you to everybody on this stream who is a patron. It is cool that I have you all here. They're very interesting paints, those Chimera paints. Alrighty, let's just, oh, I gotta line that little strap there and the strap up here. So I like to start just lining around it and then do my shading and highlighting. Yeah, Twistoma. Yeah, I started out on straight needles. I actually liked them better than the round ones, but I'm just getting accustomed to the round ones now. Plus, I really like the Knitter's Pride. I like the wooden needles. I like the material that they're done in. And they've got those interchangeable cords, so I can be able to do different widths. All right, there. All right, let's do it. Okay, so now to actually shade my leather and to highlight my leather, I am going to thin both of these more. And if I was still going to use my more full strength ones, my more base coat consistency, then I would want to just, you know, transfer some color into a new set of wells and thin more. What was that? That was like a papa waking up from a dream. Wait, what you doing? Hi. Do you want to come in and say hi? You probably would be a demon, right, little dog? So anyway, let's thin these. I don't think I'm going to need them full strength. If I do, I can just put a dot on my palette. So I'm going to add a couple of drops of water to that one and a couple of drops of water to maybe just 1 drop, 1.5 to that one. And we'll see how our consistency is. What's up, Keeks? You want us to come say hi? 1 second, I'll let the papa in and see if she can be a good girl. This is good girl test number 2. Take 2. Good girl test number 2. Hi, good girl. Can you come in here and be a good girl? Can you be good? Can you get up? There we go. There we go. Good girl. Good girl, monster dog. Hi, monster dog. Such a monster. Such a little monster. Yeah. Hi, monster dog. Okay, you got your time in the sun, little monster dog. Now you've got to get off of the chair and let mommy work again. You've got to let mommy work again, you little dweeb. Good girl. You just want attentions, huh? Can you get off? Good girl. She's getting very good at climbing up on the chair. But that means it's risky to sit on her. Don't eat it. Please don't eat the paint. Please don't eat the paint, Papa. Good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. Come on. You got to back up. You got to get out of there somehow. Yeah, you can be in here until you're bad. And then you can't be in here anymore, baby. Yeah, you can be in here until you're bad. What a silly girl. Such a silly girl. Yep. No. Papa. You're just trying to get all the stuff. No, ma'am. She's just trying to get all the stuff on my floor. Papa. Yeah, tucking it under her arm. Yeah, Twisted Oma. Yep. Yeah. I had long needles that I could do that with when I first started knitting. Hi there, Papa. Hi. She's going to be too distracting. I'm going to have to put this little Papa out again. Yeah, she just wants to sit here with my head with her head on my lap and get pettins. Like that's what she's doing right now. I've got this big face down here. This big face that's off camera, snoodling me with the tail wagging. Yeah, with the tail wagging. Yeah, pupper logic. Yes, it totally is pupper logic, Shadow Raven. All right, baby dog. I'm going to put you back out again. Yeah, it's almost time. Don't worry. I just have to do another 15 minutes or so. Okay, let's go. Come on. Nope. Come on. No. Come on, you. Get out. Ooh, oh, it's a 1,000-pound dog. Oh my gosh, you gotta be good, Papa, for 15 more minutes. You can hold out, Papa. You can. I know you can. Too disrupting. Yeah. So keep petting, right? Yeah. Good girl, Keeks. She really wants to play. I know she wants to play. But she's got to learn that when I'm working. And she was so good for, I think this is the point where she's testing it, right? Because she was so good for like a couple of weeks, right? She would just come in, get some pettins, and leave again. She knew that I was working, and she didn't interrupt me. But the last couple days, or a few days, she's been really like kind of testing previous boundaries. And it's like, well, then we've got to reassert some boundaries. If you can be good, then you can come in, but you can't keep disrupting. So her Karoo, she's a girl. She's big, but she's a girl. Yeah, she's checking to see if the rules are still the rules. That's Kiki. She's a lot like Thorn. I hate to say this because Thorn was my demon dog. But, Kiki almost was named Cerberus, and we kind of are thinking maybe we missed an opportunity there. Yep, she's like a human. Okay, I'm actually going to switch to a different brush because I'm using a very long, thin brush right now, but I don't really need that when I'm not lining. I'm going to go with a shorter brush. I'll actually go with my Reaper Zero. You're going to be a good girl? She's playing with her toys. All right. I'm going to get a little bit of this, and it's like thinner, but it's not like super thin if you look at it. So it's like a heavy layer at this point. But that's fine because it's fairly close in color. When you are shading or highlighting a paint and it's fairly close in color to the paint you're working over, you don't have to thin it as much. This is one of the ways that you can layer with thicker paints. Is if your colors are relatively close together, you can just paint it on and it'll blend in pretty easily. And if it doesn't blend in perfectly, you can just usually brush a little bit of your original color over the top and it'll blend really well, like the shadow here. So, yeah. We would have shortened it to Siri if we named her Cerberus. Karoo. But she almost was. She was almost named after Cerberus in Hades, the Hades video game. Because I love Cerberus in the Hades game. You can give him scritches. There are many good Cerberus memes now. Harry Potter is only one. And I'm going to shade the bottom of the pouch here. Now you want to make sure that this is kind of a round shadow, like a crescent-shaped shadow, because the pouch is rounded. If you want, you can make it a little bit irregular, and that will suggest that things are bulging out in the pouch. Then again, if I find that I can see a definite border there, I'll grab some of my Ready Leather and I'll brush it over that, just over the edge, to blend it in a little bit. That doglet, I'm sure she's getting in trouble. But we only have to survive another 10 minutes or so, and then I can go and see what the Kiki has decided to eat. Right, Keeker? I should just give her a pacifier, but I don't want to give her one like right when I'm about to get out of here. I have, they're not Kongs, they're topples, sort of like cups with fins in the inside. And I've filled them with canned pumpkin and a little bit of unsweetened applesauce and some canned food, dog food, and froze it. And they're great. They'll keep her occupied for a straight hour trying to get lick all the frozen food out. But I don't want to give her one to her now because I'm going to be done in like 10 or 15 minutes. I kind of hold them in reserve for when I really need them to keep her occupied. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow, like real narrow band of shadow on the leather here, right near the top. Whew. Yeah, Kiki's back to being a handful lately, so not really looking forward to our walk, like, because I know that, again, she's going to see a lot of dogs that she wants to play with, and I will not be able to. It's hard because it's hard on my back. She really wants to pull, so she's otherwise very good. Like, if there is not another dog that she wants to play with, like in her visual range, she walks very well on a leash. But if there's a dog, God help you. So, because she so wants to play all the time, 24/7. Kiki is the reason, the dogs like Kiki are the reason that people get 2 puppies at once. As ill-advised as that is for many things, when you've got a busy puppy, I can see why people get something to keep the other puppy busy. All right. Oh, and I totally forgot to line up there, so I'm going to just shade. Settle down, Keeker. And I did take her out right before stream, so I know it's not that. So we'll just get a little bit of shadow here on the brown. With leather, often, since when it's around a rounded surface, like it'll often bow, you know, where the edges curve outward, and then it kind of is a C shape when it gets worn. And there's a little bit of a suggestion to that shape here. So I am just putting a little shadow up there. All right, and I've got shading here. We've got shading there, and I need to shade back here. Yeah, once all that Kickstarter stuff ships, then I'll use the new paints and some stuff, since I ordered them. I'm going to make the interior part here a little bit darker, so I'm going to shade that down. Richard, that's funny. I checked just to make sure that they had the correct address, and then I was not checking again. All right. And I'm just going to shade a little bit under these little tooling marks. I have to decide if I want to do them in a contrasting color, or if I just want to suggest that there are punched raised designs in the leather. Usually I put them in like gold, but I'm thinking about doing like more like the tooled leather thing on this one because it would be more in character. So I think I'm just going to shade around some of the recesses and bring out some of the details that way. And then when I highlight the leather, you can see how it kind of already looks like it's bringing out those details. Then when I highlight the leather, I'll just use leather colors and hopefully it will end up looking more like tooled leather. Which isn't as, it doesn't stick out as much as like making it in a contrasting color like silver or gold, but I think it'll make a nice effect. Because it's a big enough bag for the details to show up. I gave Kiki a bully stick this morning too, but she's just not like, she wants to play with me and she doesn't want to self-entertain today. How many minis have I painted in my life? Wow. I'm a slow painter, Heckman. So I would say like, gosh, I mean, I did a couple armies, but it's like, that's fast painting. It's not really, because I did my Tyranids. That was 120 gaunts right there. I had Dark Eldar for a while. I had a Chaos Army. Like, so the armies actually, like, were, like, pretty fast, right? I don't think I've painted more than, like, I would be shocked if I had painted more than 1,000. In my lifetime, because I'm a slow painter, and because I usually haven't painted armies. Like the armies are what's going to push that up, but like otherwise, yeah, I would be shocked if I had done over 1,000 Heckman, and I bet it's lower. I bet it's significantly lower than 1,000. Because you know I've been painting over like 3 decades, but I paint slow. And when I was painting for Reaper, that would have plumped it up. But again, those were fast paint jobs, like a lot of the time it was. So I still feel like that wouldn't have really pushed it. I don't know, maybe let's just say like, let's say about 1,000, probably a couple hundred short of that, but maybe about 1,000. Oh, nice, Fox. Yeah. Quindy mentioned they were going to go up like right now. The extras would be up. Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, like, remember that finishing models, like, although it feels good and everything, like, if you paint slow, you paint slow. Like, there's no, like, shame to painting slow. And as I brought up the other day with Dogfather, like, he was like, unfortunately, I'm slow and methodical. And I'm like, well, that's not unfortunate at all, actually. I'm a slow painter. And the thing that it does for you is that when you're slow, you're concentrating, right? And you're taking your time. And that gives you more opportunities to learn and internalize technique. So like being slow and taking your time is not a downside. It's just a different way. So no painting style is more virtuous than any other. If you can paint fast and pull out armies, wow, that's fantastic. If you paint super slow and just put out stuff that you really love, like just a little bit at a time, that also is, wow, that's awesome. It's just different. Like I'm way done like feeling like painting is a race. Like if I get one competition level mini done a year, I'm pretty okay with that at this point. Like if I do more than that, then wow, right? Then I've gotten stuff done. But lately it's just like I want to, like this guy, I just want to paint him to the point where I'm happy with him. And I'm going to be happy with him at a much lower level than competition. So, like, I just want him to look kind of cool. And so when I have time to finish those metallics and the bone and his skin, like, I'll probably just do a little bit of work on the base. I'm not going to do him to the top level, but I'm still going to count him as done. And that's been a hard road for me because I always, for a long time, I felt the pressure to always do my best work on every mini. But David, like, is a good influence on me there because he doesn't. He'll relax and just paint something, like, okay, right? And it'll be done, and it'll still look pretty good, but it's not like his competition level or anything. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, figure out what is rewarding about the hobby for you, right? For me, I like painting a model to an extent where I feel like happy with it, but I needed to realize that I didn't need to go like way tops with everything to feel happy with it. This stream was good for that too because the models here I paint pretty solid, but they're not like competition level. So it's just like painting something and feeling happy with getting something done that looks relatively cool that I'm happy with. Like, I just had to rewire the part of me that like I needed to figure out what's the standard that'll make me happy. And then when I feel like painting to a really high standard, I do really take pleasure in that, but I know it's going to be abysmally slow. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. Again, it's motivation, right? Chromatic. Yeah, everybody's got different. Because if you're really motivated when you finish something and you're really happy when you finish, and that's when you get your dopamine rush, then absolutely you're going to be you're going to be driven to become a faster painter because that's your incentive, right? Whereas me, finishing something feels good, but I more love just like concentrating on an area of a model and making it look good. And I've taught myself to paint in segments that way because otherwise it takes so long for me to finish, I would never get the reward, right? So, and that doesn't work with the way that human brains are wired. Your human brain needs to have its reward fairly frequently for you to keep up with something. So for me, that meant that I just painted in pieces, like I'm doing with this guy, where I can like get it, a decent amount of progress in an hour and a half, and it'll look nice, even if there's more work to be done. But it gives me that satisfaction feeling of finishing a part. So everybody's brain and speed are different, and I just learned to deal with the fact that I was a slow painter. I was never going to be super fast, and I'm okay with it. Right, yeah, exactly. And there's that with Karoo, right? You just slow down. That's what I'm doing with my knitting. Like, that's why I started the knitting hobby, and I talk about it a little bit on here from time to time. But I started knitting because I wanted to be at a beginner level again with a hobby, right? Because then you can do things like just slow down and enjoy the technique, right? Just enjoy learning a new technique. Whereas now when I paint, there's expectations. There's my subconscious expectations. There's David's expectations. There's, am I going to show this to anybody? It's got to look decent expectations. There's whatever. And I know the techniques. So it's just like how well I execute them. And I can still enjoy that process, but it's also enjoyable just to start something totally new, slow it way down. Like anybody else looking at my knitting would probably be like, how long is it taking you to do this stuff? But I'm like, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm making myself slow down because I know the value of building muscle memory. So I'm essentially just working on very simple projects to build that muscle memory. Because then I'll be able to like kind of like do this stuff while I'm watching Overwatch League or while I'm watching a TV show with David or whatever, right? Yeah, finishing a part. Yeah, because otherwise, if you only get I just lose impetus, right? I just like lose the oomph to do the thing. Uh-oh, the Kiki's barking. She's like, you said I only needed to wait 15 minutes, and now I'm going to bark. But yeah, so never, don't get down on yourself for your slow painter. Like, there are some excellent painters in the world who are just really slow. And a lot of times we feel bad about ourselves, right? But it's really pays to not feel bad about yourself. Like, it is what it is, and there's a reason you love the hobby, and just remember that reason and go with it. Oh no, the Barkies. The Barkies are here, folks. The Barkies are here. But we did get our leather shaded. Do you see the nice kind of see that nice color shift there from the red to the nice dark brown? Like, that's a nice rich reddish leather. That's what I really love about this particular color and using it for leather. Yeah. For sure. So, and we'll get to highlighting the boots next time. But yeah, so and we have again. It just looks like that beautiful like reddish leather color. I love it. Hey, casual painter, you have come in at the end of the stream. My puppy is barking. She knows it's time. Sorry for the barkies, everybody. And we were just finishing up doing some shading on our reddish leather colors for the Burgermeister here. But we are ending the stream with barks. Hey! What? Enough! Doglet? And tomorrow we will be back, and remember, we're doing kind of the sunrise like color with yellow. We starting with the pink underpaint and doing the yes. Kiki demands treats and attention and loves. Yes. So tomorrow we're going back to our yellow, and we're going to redo the hood up here to be more like our dawn color down here, and we're gonna like think about we got a lot of yellow to do. We've got a lot of yellow to do on this model. So all right, yes, Aileen, we're back to the cleric. Back to the cleric. So thank you for attending, and yeah, we will keep moving on. Thank you for dealing with the Kiki shenanigans today. And yeah, thank you, Quindy, for being our mod, as always. All right, you like the barkies. All right, well, the barkies are about to stop. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.